What's up, Affordable Armory folks? How y'all doing? Today we're going to talk about holsters. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button and you'll find out about future videos. So without further ado, let's go over to the workbench and I'm going to show you a whole bunch of holsters. I'm going to talk about ones I like, ones I don't like, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's do it. Holy crap, look at that mess of holsters on the workbench. This right here is exactly what I'm hoping to help you avoid by doing this video. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the absolutely not, no way Jose holsters. So, this one right here is a nylon holster made by Gunmate. And it is an outside the waistband, your belt loop, or your belt goes through this nylon loop right here, and I believe this was for my revolver. It does at least have a retention strap, which is, whatever, but as you can see, it is very soft. It has a lot of give to it, and that's not something that I'm okay with. First of all, for reholstering, it makes it near impossible because this thing collapses. And then because it is so flimsy, it tends to flop around on your waist, especially it being outside the waistband. They make inside the waistband ones like this too, and they're so flimsy that when you draw the gun, it collapses, and then you go to reholster and you kind of have to like dig your fingers in there, and that's a no-go. So these are out the door. I know they're cheap and you can find them pretty much anywhere, but don't buy these. Don't waste your time. Here's another one from Blackhawk, and it's pretty similar. You can see this one is for a Glock or an M&P, and it's ambidextrous, so you can move that clip to the other side. It does have a retention strap, and it does have a spot for a spare magazine. That's kind of silly though, because most people tend to carry their spare magazine on their weekend side, or in a pocket or elsewhere. You don't tend to carry it on the same spot as your gun. But same reasons for the Gunmate holster. This is a no-go. This one is actually designed for inside the waistband, and again, reholstering is next to impossible, if not borderline dangerous. So I can't recommend these, even though they're cheap and you can find them pretty much everywhere. And the last one on the absolute no-go list would be the Serpa holster. You've probably seen these at your big box stores. They're pretty much available everywhere. This one has the paddle on it. They do also come with a belt loop usually, so you could run it belt loop, or this just flips down into your waistband, and then this will sit on the outside of your waistband. But there's a couple reasons that I don't like these. One is that thing sits super far off your hip, so it's very hard to conceal it unless you're wearing like a large overcoat. I guess a hoodie might do it, but I don't like how far off of your body these sit. The other main concern is this right here is a retention device, and when you stick the gun in there, this locks it into place by holding onto the trigger guard, and in order to draw the pistol, you have to press this with your finger. Now, if you think about where that is, it's right over the trigger. So you go to draw the pistol, your finger naturally wants to go down into the trigger guard. And pretty much across the country, most training schools will not allow you to use this style of holster for that very reason. There's been too many accidental shootings from people making the mistake that I just mentioned. As a matter of fact, we used these when I was in the military, and they started switching over to the Safariland holsters instead, which have a thumb retention system rather than a finger retention system, because that actually happened. We had I was on a training exercise, and we had a guy that shot himself in the foot, and so we were all told that we were not allowed to shoot for that training exercise because we had Serpa holsters, and we had to get this Fireland once. So anyway, I don't recommend these. They do make a model that does come without this on it. That's probably okay. Again, though, it sticks pretty far off the body, so I still don't recommend it. Moving on, we've got some holsters that are, I don't know, they're okay, but I wouldn't use them all the time. I wouldn't put these in the absolutely not category. However, I don't recommend them either. So these style of holsters are designed to go inside the waistband, and they've got this sort of sticky, rubbery material that's supposed to cling to your pants material as well as your body. It kind of works. The idea being, like, say you're wearing basketball shorts or pajamas or sweatpants or something, and you could stick this in your waistband and still carry a gun. The problem with that is, again, as I mentioned with the nylon holsters, when you draw the gun, this collapses. And so there's no reholstering without pulling the holster out, sticking the gun back in there, and then re-sticking the whole thing in your waistband. The other thing I found is, because this is not clipped to your pants in any way, it slides. I've here's one from Sticky. This is probably the best known brand. Literally, it's called Sticky. But what I noticed is, yeah, it might sit in there at first, but the weight of the gun, it slowly starts to slide down, and then you have to reseat it every now and then. So I typically try to stay away from these style holsters. But if you do want to get one of these, one cool thing I found is Sticky makes this thing. It's called an ankle biter leg rig. And so you wrap this around your ankle and then place the holster up against it, and then there's a piece that goes over that. And so then you turn your what was an inside the waistband holster into an ankle rig. So that's kind of cool. It's, semi-modular at least. So it may be useful for that purpose. But again, I can't fully recommend these. They're not my favorite. But in a pinch, they'll work. On to pocket holsters. So this one is from Blackhawk. It's called the Tech Grip. It's got that same sort of grippy material as on the Sticky and the DeSantis and whatnot. Except this one is designed to go in your pocket. And what I don't like about this one is that the draw just doesn't work, because the whole holster wants to come out with the gun. Same with this other one here, this Range Max. And these are both cheap. I mean, I think I paid like $10 for this, maybe 15 or 20 for that one. And they're essentially the same thing. It's this one's again got a sort of texturized material on the outside. It's not rubber, but it's got some texture to it. It's not cloth either. And then the inside is slippery. So the other problem is with that being slippery on the inside, the gun slides around. And the main problem with all of these holsters is they're not fitted specifically for your gun. So there's no retention whatsoever. None. Yes, they do sort of protect the trigger guard, but with this being a soft material, if you had anything in your pocket, there's a risk of that pushing on the trigger. I wouldn't take that risk personally. So if you're going to pocket carry, go with something like this. This is a Kydex holster, and I talked a little bit about this in my Taurus Spectrum video, if you want to go watch that. But this is a custom made one by a company called PJ Holsters. I think it's just a guy in his garage. This is clearly one piece of Kydex that's just been folded over and made to the shape of a Taurus Spectrum. But it's kind of cool because it's got this piece right here, which you may be wondering, what in the world is that little flap for? Well, that's for your thumb, so you can push off as you draw. So you grip the gun and then push right there with your thumb, and the gun comes out. And also, this little hook right here will catch on your pocket so that this stays in your pocket. Unlike these right here, where if you grab it, the whole thing wants to come out. There's no way for you to pull the gun out of the holster. This hook right here makes sure that this stays in your pocket and only the gun comes out. So if you're going to pocket carry, find you a good Kydex holster. All right, last on the semi-recommend list, this is a holster from 511, and as you can see, it's got a Velcro backing here. This one is made for backpacks. So I have a couple of bags that are made for concealed carry, and it's pretty cool that you can stick this in there, and there's a Velcro panel on the inside that this sticks to, and then you can stick your gun down in there. And this one actually has a retention strap, which you can actually peel that off. See, it doesn't have to be on there. But it's kind of nice that it does have that if you're concerned about that. And you can just, stick that down in your backpack and have your gun in a backpack. So I don't really have the same concerns with this being nylon material as with some of the other ones, because it's not on my person, it's in a bag. But that is an option. Moving on. All right, let's talk about some leather holsters. So we're getting into some better options here. This is a leather holster from DeSantis. Again, I'll put links to all of these down below so you can go find them if this is what you're looking for. If you see something and you're like, yep, that's what I want. But with these type of holsters, their downside is going to be the clip. It's kind of a flimsy metal, although as long as you don't catch it on anything or bend it too much, it should work just fine. The nice thing about these is it is a pretty decent leather. And as a matter of fact, when you buy one of these holsters, you should probably stick your gun in it just like you did with your baseball mitt when you were a kid, and let it sit. And I wouldn't wrap it in rubber bands and oil it. They actually specifically say don't oil these, but you do want to put your gun in there and let it sit. Some people will put their gun in a sock or a plastic bag and then stick it in there, and that will help fit it specifically to your gun. Because the downside with these is this is made to fit a J-frame style revolver. Well, there's lots of J-frame style revolvers. So there's the Smith & Wesson J-frame, but there's Taurus revolvers, there's the Rossi revolvers, there's all sorts of other revolvers that are this size and style. So it's not made specifically for one revolver. So if I could say there's a downside to these holsters, that's it. Same goes for this one. This is also a DeSantis holster, same clip and everything, but it's made for, I believe it was my Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. And so guns like that. So it would also fit, for example, a Glock 43. It would fit a Keltec, what's the micro gun? I don't know, PF9, P11, one of those. Anyway, you get the idea. It's made for a lot of different guns. So same thing. If you're going to go with this holster, just make sure that it does, in fact, fit your gun and still has proper retention on it. If you want to spend a little bit more money, this is a custom holster, and it's actually made for a gun that I don't have. Funny story, a girl I was dating a few years back, she started to get into guns. Go figure, she was dating me. And she decided to buy a custom holster for her Ruger SR9 compact. And so this is that holster. She thought it was humongous when she got it and didn't like it. Ended up going with a belly band. And she was like, here, you can have it. So I have a holster for a gun that I don't even own. I thought it might fit my Sig Sauer P320 compact or some other gun possibly, but it has not fit any gun that I've tried. And that just goes to show you the quality of Looper brand. That's the guy who makes this holster. Again, it's a custom made holster. It's a little bit more expensive. It's going to run you $80 to $100. But if you want to look at some of the differences in quality, I mean, well, first of all, it's got loops instead of a clip. The stitching on there is much better. The leather, as you can see, is multi-layered. It's a lot thicker leather, and it is absolutely custom fitted for that specific gun. So you get what you pay for in this case. Let's talk about hybrid holsters. So what in the world is a hybrid holster? Well, a hybrid holster has a soft backing. In the case of these two, it's a leather backing, and then the other half is a Kydex shell. So probably the most well-known one is Alien Gear. This one again was for my M&P Shield, and this is one of their earlier generation models. I think it might have been their second gen, but it has a neoprene backing, which is actually very comfortable. It's helps keep the sweat off your body and protect the gun at the same time. And then it's got the nice hard Kydex shell on the other side. You can see well used. many draw strokes have been performed with this holster, as you can see from the fact that it is worn out right there. But these are nice because it distributes the weight across your body because it's so wide, and hence the two clips. What people don't like about these is the fact that it is so wide, as well as these clips are made of plastic. So you can see that is quite flimsy. I mean, that's not retaining right there at all. As well as, since it's not metal, it could eventually crack or break, which would not be good. But I mean, it does the job. It has good retention. It's very adjustable, so you can move these clips up or down to your liking. You can have one high and one low to kind of adjust the cant on it. And yeah, that's about all I could say about that. They do have a newer model that is modular, and so it can be in this style right here, as well as a single clip style for appendix carry, and it can also do outside the waistband, which is pretty cool. It comes all in one package. It's about $100. I'm planning to get one in for the channel to review, and I'll let you know how that goes in a future video. This one right here is an older model. I think this was their first gen Alien Gear model, because you can see it's a leather backing and not the neoprene. This is also an outside the waistband. They do make outside the waistband. That's the other thing that I forgot about too. In that modular, it comes with a paddle, so you can do outside the waistband belt loop or outside the waistband paddle style. Anyway, so this holster, as you can see, is outside the waistband, and it's got leather belt loops. So I have carried with this holster. Obviously, I've carried with this holster too, as I showed you. But I don't carry my revolver very often, so this has gotten probably the least use of any of my actual carry holsters. And I really should get a nice leather holster for my revolver, but this is what I have for now. Another company is Crossbreed, and you'll notice that they have the crosses on there. That's how you know it's Crossbreed. Same thing. It's got a leather backing on there. You know, they use a different kind of screws, whatever. And this is for a Glock 19, so they labeled it 19. But again, Kydex shell on the outside, leather backing. This has got two metal clips, which is much nicer than the plastic clips on the Alien Gear. And it is also adjustable, so you can see there's 3 different slots on the clip, and you can move it up or down there. And I guess that one you can move it up or down on the one screw. And then you also have retention right there. So you take an Allen wrench and you can tighten or loosen it, and that tightens or loosens the retention on the trigger guard, which is nice. That's one of the key factors with a holster. Does it retain your gun properly? All right, real quick before I move on to the Kydex holsters, I just wanted to mention this. This is a belly band, and I briefly talked about it earlier. But what I use this for is around the house. I actually had to take it off to film this part of the video. When I'm around the house and I'm like wearing pajamas or shorts or whatever, sweatpants, I'm at home, so I don't necessarily have my jeans on or pants or whatever, so I don't want to be wearing one of my Kydex holsters. So I put this on, and what's nice about it is it just velcros on. Literally wrap this around your waist and it velcros on. It's kind of stretchy, so it fits multiple sizes. They do have medium, a large, and an extra large size, so even your larger people can wear these. And it's got pockets here so that you could wear it right-handed or left-handed. So downside is, again, no retention there. It's just an elastic pocket. But like I said, I'm not carrying this out and about. I'm wearing this when I'm around the house. So I happen to like this. I may get a nicer one. Crossbreed makes one that you can attach a shell to it. So you have a Kydex shell with a Velcro backing, and it Velcros on, and then there's a strap that goes over it to hold it in place. And then the rest of it works similarly. It Velcros around, it's elastic, etc., etc. This is kind of a neoprene material. It's very, very comfortable. I've fallen asleep with this on multiple times, like laying out on the couch and forget that it's on. It's very, very comfortable. So that's what I use this for. There's nicer ones. There's ones that have pockets for spare magazine. There's ones that have pockets for cell phones, whatever. On to everyday carry type stuff. These are ones that I have carried and do carry on a regular basis. So let's talk about them. This one here is again from PJ Holsters, and this is going to be your lower end model. You can see that it's just a single piece of Kydex. It's folded over with a couple of screws. Even the clip is a part of the original piece of Kydex. They folded it over, and yeah, so it's not bad. Again, he sent me these for free to review, and I'd say it's decent. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, you could buy something like this, yeah, go from there. The edges are nice and sanded down. They're smooth, so not too bad. I have another one of his holsters that has a real clip on it, and I use that with my Taurus G2C. This one's for the Smith & Wesson SD9 VE. Moving on, this one, I bought this at Academy. This is for the, I think this is for the Taurus as well. It's either for the Taurus or the Glock. I can't remember. And I took the belt clip off of it. It had a clip sort of like this. It wasn't as good as this one. And I swapped it out for these belt loops. I like belt loops quite a bit because they they guarantee that it's going to stay on your belt a lot better than a clip does. I've become accustomed to using these clips for taking the holster on and off quickly. And I have never had an issue with the holster coming out on the draw stroke. So I'm not so super reliant on these belt loops anymore. But they are a nice option. But as far as this holster itself from MFT, I can't recommend it. If you look at this screw here, it does absolutely nothing. You can see that it's all the way screwed in, and the retention on it still was not correct. So this holster is crap. So don't buy the MFT Kydex holsters that you see at your local big box store. I do not recommend them. This is an outside the waistband holster from Bravo Concealment. And this is also a Bravo concealment holster. This is an inside the waistband holster. So despite this being outside the waistband, it is good for concealed carry. If you look at it, the way it's set up, it curves, and so your belt goes through right there, and it's pretty much touching the holster. I mean, this thing is locked in close to your body. It's really nice. I have carried with this quite a bit. When I was working at the gun range, I used to use this holster as part of my EDC there. It was pretty standard to carry outside the waistband there with your shirt tucked in so everybody could see that you did have a gun. Now, their torsion holsters are a little bit nicer. They've got 2 clips on them. And yes, they are plastic, but they're a little bit better than the Alien Gear ones. And you can adjust at least this one with multiple spots there. You can move it up and down a little bit to the side. And one nice thing about this is it's optics ready, so you can stick a regular, I think this is an M&P one, or if you have an M&P with a red dot mounted on it, it would work for that as well. It's also called a torsion holster because it's got what they call torsion technology. And so what that means is it curves to the contour of your body. I really like Bravo concealment holsters. They're a company out of Houston, Texas, and the guy makes really cool YouTube videos talking about his company, why he started it. He used to be a postal worker, and he's told his story tons of times. Seems like a pretty cool dude. Maybe someday I'll get to meet him. It'd be nice. Anyway, that's a good option. This one is from Blade Tech, and it's for a 1911. I also used this when I was working at the gun range, and I would carry my Kimber 1911. Sort of the same thing, a little bit different style belt loops. They are also plastic, but they're kind of out on the wing. Again, though, you can see that it curves. So if you notice how this one is kind of this way and this one is kind of angled that way, which keeps it in close to your body. So yes, this is outside the waistband, but you can still very easily conceal this as long as your shirt covers up the bottom. You know, so if you're wearing a long enough shirt, you can very easily conceal with this. And they do make inside the waistband holsters as well. This just happens to be an outside the waistband one. These are my favorite and my go-to, and that's Tulster. And I'll put my affiliate link down below, so if you want one of these, I get a little bit of a kickback if you buy one. But the clips on these are a very thick plastic. It's not like a cheap plastic, and you can see they've got this little lip here, so it does in fact retain itself underneath your belt. I've never had an issue with these holsters coming out on the draw stroke, never. And then you can also see I've added on both of these the sidekick, which is it aids in concealability. It pushes the gun in towards your body is basically what that does. So very, very nice. I highly recommend these. If I was going to buy a holster tomorrow for a new gun that I just got, I would look and see if Tulster made a holster for them first. Finally, on the Kydex holsters, you have this guy. This is made by Tech, and this is an appendix carry holster. You're probably thinking, man, that is a huge thing. Yeah, it is. It's really big. I don't carry with this very often. This is for my Glock 43 with a light on it. Glock 43X, excuse me. And these clips are also pretty rugged, and you can see that it does, in fact, go all the way around your belt. So there's no issue with it coming off. It's adjustable up and down. You can take those screws out, move it up or down. And then it does have this little claw piece here, sort of similar to the sidekicks on the Tulster holsters. This is to aid in concealability. It pushes the gun in towards your body. What's nice about these is that you have your gun and then you have a spot for a spare magazine, and when you're appendix carrying, both of those are right in front of you. Very, very fast access to your gun and a spare magazine. I'm not huge on appendix carry, but I have appendix carried quite a bit with this holster. There are lots of other companies that make them. Most of them actually have a a middle piece here where you could disconnect the spare mag holder, or they have like string tied between them so that it's floppy. It kind of flexes. This is just one solid piece. So I might actually in the future get another one that does have that ability to flex a little bit so that it can contour to the shape of my body, because this is kind of like, well, you got to put it where it fits best, and I'm finding that it's almost like right over my right front pocket rather than on the center line of my belt. So these are a little bit more expensive. I think this was $70 or $80. But yeah, these all-in-one rigs tend to run a little bit pricey. So there's my video on holsters. I hope you learned something. If you want to purchase one of these holsters, please use one of my links below and it'll help out the channel. Again, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. And lastly, let me know what you're carrying with. What's your preference on style of holster? Do you like leather? Do you like Kydex? Do you appendix carry, strong side? Let me know what you're carrying, how you're carrying it, and why you carry it that way. As always, head over to affordable-armory.com. That's where the blog lives. That's where our social media links are. That's where all of our affiliate links are. And that's where the store is. So you can pick yourself up a nice hat like this one I got on right now. And thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.